Actually, quite an easy lesson, but for some others they might need a reminder. This is why we're going through it. So Pythagoras, okay, so the two things we're going to be using today is find the missing side of a right angle triangle, given the other two sides, and solve problems using Pythagoras Theorem, such as find a diagonal of a rectangle. So the main thing is, this is the key word. Whenever you're doing Pythagoras, you're looking for hypotenuse. Pythagoras Theorem can only be used when you've got a right angle triangle. And the opposite side of a right angle will always be the hypotenuse. So which of these sides is the hypotenuse? Well, again, simply all you've got to do, a tiny arrow pointing towards the hypotenuse. So this is what the Pythagoras theorem actually is. A squared plus b squared equals to c squared, where c squared is the hypotenuse. Finding the hypotenuse. Pythagoras theorem is a squared plus b squared equals to c squared. So each time you're going to be trying to find out what have you got and what you're trying to find. For this question here, and the value of x is the hypotenuse. So for both of them, the value of x is actually c. It doesn't matter which way you label a and b. It does not matter. So say for example you start with c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Well, wherever c is, you're going to put x. So x squared equals 5 squared plus 12 squared. X is the square root of those two added together, so therefore 13. Same for the bottom one. So 10.8 to 1 decimal place. Now what we'd like to do is, I'd like to pause the video and try any two questions. And let's actually mark it. So this is what you should have. So these are to 2 decimal places. So finding any side of the right angle triangle. So finding the other two other than the hypotenuse. We're still going to be using a squared plus b squared equals to c squared. For this question here, this is your c. And it doesn't matter which one is a and which one is b. So let's start it again. X squared equals to 25 squared takes 7 squared. Now if you don't want to start it in that way, you can start it with x squared plus 7 squared equals to 25 squared, and then x squared equals to 25 squared. Take away 7 squared. Now a lot of books will actually start it this way because they already know that you're not trying to find a hypotenuse, you're trying to find one of the other sides. Hence as to why you now take away. So therefore you're left with 24. Same again as earlier, I would like us to pause the video and try any two questions. And mark your work please. So again, 2 decimal places. So here's an exam question, okay, and we're trying to spot the errors. It says find PQ and they've got 19 squared plus 15 squared. 586. What is the mistake for this question? So the mistake for this question is obviously that they've actually added. Yeah, what should they have done? They should have taken away. And find the area of PQR is 15 times whatever the length of PQ is, not their slanted height. Problem solving is what we'd like us to focus on now, because a lot of the other stuff you've already done in year 9. I want you to draw a diagram each time you get this question. Each time you get a question involving heights and lengths, you need to be thinking, I need to start drawing a diagram out and draw my right angle triangle. So let's say an example. Find diagonal of this rectangle. Well, obviously, straight across, Pythagoras theorem for this one. Nice and simple. Same again, Pythagoras theorem, but now you're trying to find one of the other lengths. And for this one's asking perimeter. Okay, so perimeter, remember, you're adding. Sails due east from the harbour. Jamaica, 15 miles away. At B, the boat turns due south and sails for 6.4 miles to the lighthouse L. It then returns to the harbour. Make a sketch of this journey. What is the total distance? So please pause the video for me and try to write this down. So you should have sketched it by now, and this is what it should look like. Okay, obviously you don't need the pictures, but I'm looking for this right angle triangle. The boat sails due east from the harbour, and he goes 15 miles. At point B, yeah, he sails 6.4 to the lighthouse. Nice and simple. Make a sketch. What is the total distance that the boat is asking for? The total distance. So you first of all need to work out what this length is, 16.3, and then add them all together to work out the total distance they've done is 37.7. Same again, pause the video. So a 12-foot ladder rests against the side of a house. The top of the ladder is 9.5 feet from the floor. How far is the base? So again, you should have drawn a diagram. You don't need the house, okay? I am looking for simply this. That is what I'm looking for. 9.5, 12. And you're trying to find how far base. So eventually what's going to happen is we're going to be trying to find this angle also and using trigonometry. But for now, we're simply working out Pythagoras. Using Pythagoras even. So therefore that is 7.3. The diagram shows an isosceles triangle. Calculate the height of the triangle. So what would it be? It's an isosceles triangle. So pause your video. First thing, obviously we're starting with 4 and 4. So we're trying to find what h would actually be. Yeah. So square root 25 take 16. Square root 9. So it will be simply 3. Calculate the height of the triangle. 2 and 2. Square root of 4 take away. Square root 16 take away 4. Square root 12. Which is 2 root 3. Okay, remember the shares that we've done at the beginning of the year. The diagram shows an isosceles triangle. Same again, calculate the height of it. 8, 8. 100 take away 64. Square root of 36. So therefore is 6. How far does the ladder reach? The ladder is 6 meters to length. The ladder rests against a wall which is 2 foot away from it. 2 meters away. So how far again? So simply again, square root 36, take away 4. Square root 32. 16 times 2. 4 root 2. So you've already used Pythagoras this year, okay, by working out the distance between 2 points. So the length of AB. So the length of AB, what did we actually talk about? We talked about how you could do it as y2 take y1 squared plus x2 take x1 squared. Then this is what you can potentially use. Here what they've got is AB 7 units, 10 units, and then it's simply done Pythagoras, okay? But this is all you're actually doing if you use the formula. So left with square root of 149, which is 12.21